Hi everyone, it's Mark here again. I'm the founder of the Arts and Culture Network. We're rapidly approaching 90,000 members across our 5 LinkedIn groups now, which is very exciting. But this is the best bit of the job for me. It's where I get to meet our full members, and full membership is only £10 a month, and this is one of the benefits. So this interview will be published and promoted across all of our LinkedIn groups. So I'm delighted that Debbie Crouch has joined me today. Debbie, thank you so much for doing this and for being one of our full members.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's going to be fun. I should point out that I've given you very little warning of what's to come, so which makes it even more fun. So, but first, perhaps you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us about the book. That's really exciting.
Yeah, my name's Debbie Crouch and I run Art for Wellness. And the methodology behind that is teaching people how to draw, paint, and journal to support their well-being. It actually started as a Facebook group and then it's grown into a business. And I've been running for about 3 years now. So there's a Facebook group that people interact and share things. And then there's also the website that's got lots of tutorials and resources on there. But it's something that I'm really passionate about because I learned to draw and paint through my own wellness journey. And I want to share the benefits with everybody else. And I know I've got a book out that's coming out on the 22nd of November, and it's a celebration of all members' artwork that are in the bronze group. So those people that have submitted a piece of art, it's been put into a book as a celebration to show how much art can benefit your mental health and your well-being.
That's brilliant. And you are working at the sweet spot, the current topical sweet spot that I've read about, this convergence of the arts and well-being. And it's great work that you're doing. So thank you so much. And you're probably also, rather like us, one of those businesses that has flourished out of lockdown.
Yes.
Every cloud. Which is great. Oh, that's fantastic. So wherever this appears, there'll be links to the Facebook group and the book and to your LinkedIn profile. So thank you very much. Right, let's get cracking, shall we? What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring to life your perfect cultural year. And I'm going to do so by the answers to your questions, which I will scribble down so that we can paint this picture. And it all starts with the question about, do you have a favorite building and why? Anywhere in the world?
I guess I like anything that's architectural, but one thing that's come in my mind is last week I went to Leeds, and when you're actually walking around the shopping centres, you've only just got to look up to find the beautiful architecture that's there, and it's something that I think you can miss. But how it works on your well-being, being able to see something so beautiful. So I like all sorts of things like that. Yeah.
That's great. So would Leeds Town Hall count?
Yes, I guess it would.
Okay, so let's
Definitely. Yeah.
we're going to put you outside Leeds Town Hall, okay,
Okay.
looking up at the wonderful architecture. And this often produces surprises and anecdotes, this process. So I'm like you, whenever I'm in London, I'm always fascinated looking up because quite often, and I don't know which period it started in, but if you see a kind of 8-story apartment block in London, quite often all the windows are styled differently on different floors of the building, and it's easily missed, and sometimes it's really subtle. But I think that's just it would have been so much easier just to say I'll put the same windows in, but no, I think it's probably Regency. I should think Belgravia is a good example that if you see a whole row of windows, they're often very different. So, okay, so I'd like you to imagine, okay, that it's the height of June, it's warm and it's sunny, and there is a park opposite the Leeds Town Hall. I don't know if there is, but let's assume there is, right? And you're sitting there on a bench, looking up at Leeds Town Hall, enjoying the sunshine. And on your right is a book on the bench, and it just so happens to be your favorite book. What might that book be?
Gosh, I can't think at the moment. Uh,
or anything that comes to mind, or
The only thing I can think that comes to mind, and it's a childhood book that I've read recently, and it's The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
perfect.
Yeah,
Oh, that's brilliant. Narnia, I'm writing down.
yeah.
Excellent. That's great. Belfast, I think, wasn't he? Wasn't he? Yeah.
Don't
Um,
know.
yeah. There's a lovely I use Calm, which is a great app for getting to sleep. And it's a whole series of 20-minute stories. I've never heard the end of any of them, so I know it works.
Ah, that's
Um,
good.
and one of them is it's a great mindfulness app as well. But one of them, one of the sleep stories is a train journey across Ireland. And I think C.S. Lewis, I think there is a castle in Northern Ireland, which is was the inspiration for the castle in Narnia.
Ah,
So you get to see all of
interesting.
these things as
Mm.
you're traveling. Anyway, we go off piste as well during these conversations, as you can tell. So there you are. Now on your left is the beverage of your choice. So you're sitting there in the sunshine, let's say at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Friday afternoon, long busy week behind you, looking forward to the weekend, sitting there looking up at the architecture with the book there. You've just put it down for a while, and there's a drink on your left. What's in the drink?
I
It can be
think it would
anything.
be pink lemonade with fresh raspberries.
Ooh, there we go. Pink lemonade. Um, Lovely. You're bringing summer to life doing this, which is great. Now, you're in a very good mood because you've just received a letter that morning, okay, from a research organization funded by a really rather wealthy individual, okay, and they've been studying your book and your work, and they'd like you to spend a year in a different country, okay, all expenses paid, business class all the way, studying the convergence of well-being and art therapy in a different country. Okay, quite a nice gig. Uh,
Yes.
and you can choose the country you're going to. Where are you off to?
I guess if I go with whatever my brain came up with, like Norway and Sweden and places like that that are a lot more forward in how they share well-being.
Mm.
And that came into my mind, so I'm going to say that.
Which country are you going to go for?
I can't remember which one it is, but I've seen a lot on social media about how they set up centres for people to just go in and chat to each other.
Mm.
And I can't remember where it was, but I know it was that direction somewhere.
Let's assume it's Sweden.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
there we go. This is lovely because we haven't done Sweden before. Great. So you're on the plane, okay, heading for Stockholm, I imagine it would be.
Mhm.
Um, and you're looking forward to your year, but there is a letter in your bag, and you were asked by the research organization only to open it and read it once you've got on the plane, probably to make sure you're going, right? Um, and while you're doing this research for them, and you have to go back and report on what you found, but while you're doing this research, in an area that you find fascinating and you're passionate about, which is great, they're putting a restriction on you in terms of the music you can listen to for the whole year. Okay, they want you to limit your musical listening to one genre of music only, one type of music. Um, what are you going to choose to listen to?
It'd have to be something calming, something mindfulness. Um, I can't think of any one individual, but something along those lines.
So ambient
Yeah,
piano, delta waves,
yes,
binaural beats, that
yeah,
kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So mindfulness, ambient, you're having. Excellent. You might miss rock and roll, but it's going to be ambient. Okay. Brilliant. Now you've arrived in Stockholm, and your employer has arranged for a group of people who are active in the area in well-being and arts to meet you and um, give you a bit of a cultural week. Okay. And the first thing they've arranged for you, and it's a little bit magic because they can conjure anything up that you want. Okay. They've decided that on your first evening, they're going to take you out to dinner. But before they take you out to dinner, they're going to take you to a dance show of some description. Okay. Now, it can be any dancer if you have a favorite, or any group, any type. and you can choose what it is, and they'll press a magic button, and there it is on the stage. So, in terms of dance as a performing art, what would you be sitting there wanting to watch?
Something I've never watched live is ballet.
Oh, okay. It's noisier than you expect.
Is it?
Yes, all those ballet shoes clumping around on the stage. Yeah, that was the one thing I noticed. Okay,
I guess the other one would be oh, what's it called? That Irish dancing.
river dance?
Yes.
Yes, I'm a big fan of that. I was um, I was watching the first performance of that at the interval of Eurovision in 1987.
Wow.
The first time it hit the screens with Gene Butler and Michael Flatley in the leads. I subsequently saw them do it at a Prince's Trust concert a few years later, which was fantastic. But I gather that the producer of that show um, resigned very shortly after from her job at RTE, the TV station that produced the show. Put an advert in the stage looking for angel investors because she wanted to set up Riverdance.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to invest £10,000 in Riverdance in 1987. I didn't have £10,000 in 1987, but somebody who I know who did invested £10,000 in Riverdance in 1987, and I understand that he's taken £100,000 out every year since, and it's just had its 25th anniversary, or more, 87, 97, 2007. Yeah, it's had its 25th anniversary. So that's a tidy £2.5 million over the last, I wish I had done it, but there you go. So you can see in the first half is a ballet, and we'll give you, perhaps because we're approaching Christmas, we might give you Nutcracker. And then the second half is Riverdance with Michael Flatley and Gene Butler. And do you know the thing I realized when we were watching that for the first time was that if you see somebody on their own dancing or playing, or then it isn't to the uninitiated, it isn't obvious whether they're getting it right or not because it's only them doing it. But when you've got 80 people on stage doing exactly the same thing at the same time, you know they're all very good. And it's one of those things that can resonate with people really who aren't familiar with the art form. So excellent, right? So you've got ballet and Riverdance. Now, I don't know if you're a sports fan, but the next day is Saturday, and they've said you can go to any sporting event you wish. It doesn't have to be a Swedish sport; it can be anything. And again, it's a magic button, so you can jump in. What sport would you like to watch?
I'm not a very sporty person, and I can't think of any particular sport. I'll say rugby because I've been to rugby matches with my husband, and that's the only thing I can think of.
It does have the advantage of men's large thighs, I guess, going and nobody diving like they do in football. Yeah. Okay, so you have a game of rugby. Now, the following, dinner after the dance show. I forgot that one. Any cuisine you like. What's your favorite cuisine for dining out?
Mediterranean, especially Greek food.
Right. Okay. Love it. Greek, rugby. Okay. Now, the next day, somebody's created a rather clever, and this would probably be in Sweden, a rather clever virtual gallery, which is lined with screens, and you do a walkthrough, a visual art gallery, and sculpture, if you wish. And what they've been able to do is press a button, and all of the works of art by any visual artist are brought to the screens in this gallery, and they're arranged so that you can walk through their work chronologically, so you can see the changes in their style. You can only choose one visual artist, I'm afraid. Who's it going to be?
Van Gogh.
Nice. Have you seen any of these immersive Van Gogh shows?
I have. I've been over to York and seen it over there, and it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, excellent. You can do Van Gogh. Now, the next day they want to lighten things up a bit, and there's a theatre, a magical theatre in Sweden, in Stockholm, and they're taking you, and you can decide what play or musical you see. What would you choose?
Lion King.
Lion King, love it. I'm, as an aside, I'm actually the co-producer of a new production of Jungle Book, which is going to be a musical
Oh,
theatre show. Yeah, with some Hollywood stars voicing the characters who will all be puppets like in Warhorse. So
brilliant.
can't wait. And the next night is movie night, and it's similarly magic. The cinema, you can press a button and off you go. So, what film would you want to have showing?
I guess one that I always go to is Love Actually. Although I've seen it many, many times, I just love the messages behind it.
Yeah, it's great. It's such a talent, isn't it? The writing
Mm.
to weave those different stories together, and they've all got something in common. They've all got
Yes.
they cross over. It's
Yeah.
very, very clever. Yeah, and Bill Nye is brilliant.
Yeah,
Uh,
he is.
he's on the list of our. He's on our list for Jungle Book to play Rudyard Kipling. So
Brilliant.
excellent. There we go. And now another quick question. Apart from me, who was the last person to make you laugh?
Oh, I think Peter Kay. I tend to
Oh,
watch a lot of his repeats on television, and no matter how many times I watch them, I still laugh at them.
oh, Car Share. Have you watched
Yeah,
Car Share? It's just genius.
yeah,
He's such a funny, naturally funny man, isn't he?
he is.
And
Yeah,
anyone who can, I like the tour that didn't tour. He did a whole season, I think, in Manchester, didn't he? He was
yes,
meant to
he
be a
did.
tour and decided, you know what, I'm just going to do it here. They can come to us. Excellent. Wonderful. So that's great. Thank you. Now we all know you a bit better from there. So that's your perfect year, studying the convergence of well-being, mindfulness, and art in another country that does it better than us, presumably, and
Yeah,
from which we can learn. And you get all of that art there. So thank you for that. You've given us a lovely insight. Now we're
I
going to
want
do
to
one
go
more.
now.
Well, I was thinking I should probably either record this and send it to a psychologist to try and find out what it all means, or I should try and get in touch with the travel company and say, "Can you arrange this, please, and sell it?" Right, we're going to play the this or that game now. When I was younger, this was a TV show that celebrities took part in. So I'm going to give you two options, and you have to choose one of them. We haven't done this before, have we?
No,
Are you ready?
yeah, I'm ready.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee,
Radio or TV?
radio,
High heels or trainers?
trainers,
Car or motorcycle?
car,
Comedy or horror?
comedy,
Concert hall or sports stadium?
sports stadium,
Cat or dog?
cat,
Test the water or dive in at the deep end?
test the water,
Orange juice? Bits or no bits?
bits,
Library or museum?
museum,
Beethoven or Mozart?
Beethoven,
Shower or bath?
shower,
Cooking or being cooked for?
being cooked for,
Fiction or non-fiction?
non-fiction,
Shopping online or in store?
shopping online,
Sand or snow?
sand,
Reggae or salsa?
salsa,
Indoors or outdoors?
outdoors,
Android or iPhone?
iPhone,
Start immediately or wait until the last minute?
start immediately,
You are so unlike me. Um, Science or history?
history,
New York or Los Angeles?
Los Angeles,
Early morning or late night?
early morning,
Messy desk or tidy desk?
messy desk,
Um, Planet or wing it?
wing it,
We are perhaps more alike than I thought. Bedroom door open or closed?
closed,
Toilet paper over or under?
over,
Somebody found a patent document once proving that it was designed to go over and not under.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Zombies or vampires?
Vampires.
Red or white wine?
No, neither.
Neither. Batman or Superman?
Superman.
Numbers or words?
Words.
Rare or well done?
Rare.
Mild or spicy?
Mild.
Opera or chamber music?
Chamber music.
Um, Gold or silver?
Silver.
Mountains or beaches?
Beaches.
Sweet or savory snacks?
Sweet.
Um, Abstract or realistic art?
Abstract.
Shakespeare or Chekhov?
Shakespeare.
Jane Austen or Charles Dickens?
Charles Dickens.
And finally, see the future or change the past.
See the future.
That was wonderful. That was a whistle-stop tour of Debbie Crouch. Everybody knows you better than they would otherwise do now. So thank you so much, Debbie. That was good fun. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. It was fun. Thank you.
I shall post this will get published to our YouTube channel, and we'll write a profile about you on the website, and that will then get promoted by way of our LinkedIn groups to that growing number of members. We have something of a backlog, I'm afraid, because I like to promote them quite heavily. So it might be a little while before you see it, but this has been great. So please don't rush off. But in the meantime, thanks again for being one of our full members and for doing this. It was good fun.
It was. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.